Today on Contractor Cast, we've got 4 tips for you when it comes to Google Local Services for contractors. Stay tuned. So thanks for tuning in today. Today we want to go over 4 tips for Google Local Services. If you're not familiar with Google Local Services, it's Google's platform for lead generation, much like HomeAdvisor. It's a platform that is outside of Google search, right? So when you do a search on Google for a plumber, and at the very top you'll see 3 what are called Google Local Service listings. And when you click on one of those listings, it takes you off the Google search page and into, again, Google's ecosystem of lead generation, much like HomeAdvisor. And so this is a different system than, say, for instance, AdWords. So you can dedicate a budget to Google Local Services, but unlike Google AdWords, where it's a pay-per-click model, and Google Local Services, it is a pay-per-lead. And so when you get a phone call, typically through the Google Local Services platform, you are paying for that direct lead contact. And customers like the Google Local Services platform because they know Google has sort of done their due diligence on the companies that it has Google guaranteed, which means you have a little green check mark next to your business name, which means you've been background checked, your license information is up to date, your reviews are in good standing, that kind of thing. So it gives customers a level of comfort when picking out a service provider through Google Local Services. But today, all I really want to go over are 4 tips that we have to allow you to sort of maximize your usage and get the most out of Google Local Services as a contractor. Tip number 1 is going to be to maximize your budget. So when you go into Google Local Services, you can set a weekly ad budget, or a weekly lead budget rather, and you want to maximize this budget as much as possible. So set it at $50,000 or $100,000. You're never going to come anywhere close to that in terms of spend, but what that does is show Google that you are serious about competing for leads. As opposed to what, if someone who's putting $100 a week or $200 a week, your level of commitment there is much greater, and that's something that Google will see from that. So you definitely want to make sure that you maximize your budget to the fullest. Tip number 2 is to never pause your campaign. So a lot of times I'll get calls from clients that say, Wayne, I'm super busy. I can't take any more calls at the moment. Pause my AdWords, pause my Google Local Services, pause all things that are generating leads at this point, because I'm playing catch up. So I don't really recommend pausing your campaigns in Google Local Services. What I recommend doing is lowering your budget. So take that $50,000 budget, $100,000 budget, and put it down to $50 a week, $100 a week, $200 a week. It still shows Google that you are on the platform being active. It still allows you to maintain your positioning on the platform if you're in that top 3 or rotating through on that top 3 listing that shows Google Local Services when somebody does a search for your particular service. So that's really important, right? Because if you pause your campaign, what could wind up happening is that you give room for other competitors to come in and take up your positioning, and out of sight, out of mind for Google. And then when you are ready in a month or a few weeks or whatever the case may be, you have to sort of start from zero again to push your way back up into that top 3 listing or in that rotation for top 3 listings. So you really want to just lower your budget, but maintain your positioning and still compete for leads to a certain degree, but obviously not to the same extent that you would if you were setting your budget much, much higher. And our 3rd tip is going to be make sure that you edit all leads that come in. So typically your leads from Google Local Services are going to be phone calls. And what you need to do is after that phone call, each and every one, whether you book a call or not, even if you just get a call, is to go into Google Local Services, into the dashboard, either through the mobile app or on your desktop, but go into the dashboard and edit the lead file, right? So mark it as, put the customer's information in there, update that with their name, their phone number, any relevant information that it allows you to put in there, whether you booked the call or you didn't book a call. It just gives Google the indication that you are being active with the leads that it's sending you. If you're not going in and editing the file, Google is then not sure if you are servicing the calls or leads that it's providing you, and it will stop sending you leads, and you don't want that, right? You want to always continually get leads. I know it's an extra step because it's not necessarily part of your current CRM or if you're using other third-party applications like ServiceTitan and things like that that really track your leads and your customer database. But for Google's purposes, you really want to go in and just update the information on each lead that you get. Again, whether you book the call or you're not booking the call, even if somebody just calls and asks you a question and you don't want a booking, just go into the dashboard and update the lead file. And the final tip today is going to be getting Google guaranteed. So I've mentioned it a couple times already about getting the green check mark next to your business listing. Being Google guaranteed is also what gets you up into that top 3 listing on the search page. So when someone's doing a search for that plumber and they get the 3 listings at the top, you're more likely to be in that top 3 listing if you are Google guaranteed. And in order to, signing up for Google Local Services, you can skip being Google guaranteed. Google guaranteed is them when you have to supply Google with your license information, your number of employees, and then they do a background check on you and your employees that are going to be in people's homes. And again, this is what customers are looking for when it comes to their peace of mind. They know that again, that Google has, the reason that you have that green check mark is that you have been cleared or vetted by Google in that sense. So again, I can't really emphasize that enough. That's the most important thing, because all these other things won't really matter if you're not Google guaranteed, because you won't be getting the sort of traffic that you're going to want to see. Google is really going to push the people that it can guarantee meet a certain criteria, and that's who they want to push onto customers looking for service providers. So even though it's a lengthier step and it's a process, we, like I mentioned before, but we can gladly help you with that process. We have a contact that we work with at Google Local Services to help us onboard clients onto that platform. So definitely make sure that you take that step. If you don't take that step, you'll still be in Google Local Services. You just won't be Google verified with the green check mark. You'll still be in there. However, again, the likelihood of you being as successful is very low. So those are our 4 tips for Google Local Services. Again, a great tool to use. A lot of our clients see a lot of success using Google Local Services. So if you're not on Google Local Services already, be sure to contact us. We'll help you get on. We've got some other videos and information on our site that go over exactly how to set up and get set up with Google Local Services. But if you want to make sure that you're implementing these tips to the best of your ability, reach out to us. We'll gladly take a look at your account and go over these things on an individual basis. And that's going to do it for us today. We'll see you next time.